welcome to Ask Ron number 46. Thanks for watching these. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the questions coming in. I want to start off with a lot of people were asking me and talking about Regan Grimes. Regan Grimes was a big topic conversation at this New York Pro show that I was at last weekend in New York because he had been preparing for it as an open bodybuilder. Regan competed last year was his rookie season. He's still only 24 years old. He was 23 last year when he did his most of these shows, first two of them. Regan has phenomenal shape, structure. He's not the biggest kid, not yet. And Regan had gone to Kuwait back in late 2017 for a couple weeks, and he came home early, cut the visit short because he didn't like the vision that they had for him, as he said, where they wanted him to be basically Big Ramy. He's a little under 6 foot, he has told me. And they want him to get up to something like 340 pounds. He wasn't interested. And he got a lot of flack for that. People were criticizing him, saying, you know, he doesn't have the balls to do it. He's too lazy to do it. He doesn't have the courage to do whatever it takes. Okay, listen, it hasn't even been a year since Dallas McCarver passed away at 26 years old. Dallas did whatever it takes. He did whatever he felt he needed to do to be well over 300 pounds in the off season. He was competing at about almost 280, I believe. I mean, he was enormous, and he put all that size on like people wanted him to, and which was necessary for him to be at the very top. I mean, he took second place at his first Arnold Classic to Cedric McMillan, which was not too shabby. But he's gone. He's gone forever because he destroyed his health, and he died way too young. So Regan, he decided he's going to be healthier and live. He's not going to worry about putting on. Realistically, he competed in the 230s. I believe he was about 235 to 238 at the contest he did last year, the 3 shows he did. So he would need to be a good 30 to 40 pounds larger to do really well at the better shows as an open bodybuilder. He was not interested. He doesn't want to do that to himself. That's not the physique that he wants to have, and he's not willing to do the things in terms of pharmacology that it would take. You know what? It's his body, it's his life. So back off, people. Let Regan do what he wants to do. So it was a controversy because he had been saying all along, let's back up. Right when he came back from Kuwait, he made a post about possibly switching to Classic, and he got just blasted for that. People saying how dare you? You know, I knew it. He's so lazy. He's not willing to put the work in to put the mass in and all that. You know, like I said, it's his body. So he was preparing for this New York Pro, and he let everyone believe that he was going to be in the open bodybuilding as he had been before. And in fact, just 4 days before the show, he did an interview with Dave, and he said, you guys, it was just a joke. I'm not really switching to Classic. I'll be there in the open bodybuilding, I assure you. And 4 weeks out from the show, he had stepped on the scale in an Instagram video, or one of the videos he posted. He was 259. If he is indeed under 6 foot, like he told me, he would have needed to weigh in at 222 max for Classic. If he had somehow stood up a little bit, stretched out, got to 6 foot, 230 would still be the max, which isn't a lot bigger than he was last year. So he wouldn't have had to struggle that much. But because he probably had put on a little bit of size, I believe he did have to struggle. Because looking at his physique, he looked very flat to me. The muscles were not popping. They didn't have any fullness. They weren't pushing out against the skin, which makes the condition not as crisp as it could look too. He had a pretty tired, depleted look to my eye. And another argument is people were saying he's not really a classic physique. Well, what is a classic physique? It's just supposed to be all about small waists, aesthetics, really nice shape and proportions, balance, symmetry. He has all that. Is it as pretty a physique as, Breon Ansley? No. Pretty as Steve Lorius, who jumped in as a 212 at this show and probably shouldn't have? No. He doesn't have that round muscle belly look with the tiny joints to the extent that these guys do. Even the guy that took second to him, Divine Wilson, has more of what I would consider a classic physique type of body. But it's just a matter of semantics. Classic physique is really just bodybuilding with a classic shape and look to it. For example, this Rafael Brandao who got sixth place, the kid from Brazil. I don't even know if he would have necessarily had to drop any weight to make classic. I'm not sure what he weighs at his height, but he wouldn't have to lose a whole lot of size and weight to do classic. And I think someone like him would do really well. Really beautiful shape. He's got the peaked biceps, the crazy V taper, the little waist, the flaring thighs. He needs more thighs. He needs more quads, but you get the idea. Regan had a good enough physique to win in this field of 20 classic physique competitors, and he did. So he'll move on. He's qualified for the Olympia. We'll be seeing him at the Olympia. More power to him. He's doing a division that he feels more comfortable with. It's safer in the long run for him, for sure, I believe, than if he was going to pack on another 40 pounds of muscle. It's crazy. These guys, a lot of the fans get upset at things like this, and they're all about the big freaks, but do they really care about these guys as human beings, as people, as fathers, sons, brothers, cousins, uncles? I don't think so, because they like to drool over some guy that's got 23-inch arms and he's 300 pounds at 5'9" and veins on top of veins. But when these guys die or get really sick, are they really that concerned? No, it's on to the next freak. It's just, okay, oh well, it's too bad. So, those of you out there who have a little more empathy, maybe if you're parents, you have a different perspective, different point of view. Like if Regan was my son, I would be very, very supportive of this decision. Absolutely. I'd be like, good for you, kid. Thank God. You're going to be safer. I want to have you around for a long time. And, Regan will be around for a long time as a classic. Maybe he will go back to open. Who knows? He's still, like I said, he's still 24 years old. Who knows what's going to happen with Regan? Who knows? He might go back to open. He might not. We'll see. The next thing is a question from Heroes Fall. This came on the Daily Pump Picks thread. 2 Sundays ago, I hiked 6 miles. Last Sunday, I hiked 7. And tomorrow, I'm planning to hike 10. Am I going to screw up whatever leg mass I have gained doing a hike like this? I train legs Saturdays and figures that the hike would help with blood flow and help with my current goal of leaning down. I can understand long distance running causing leg mass, but will hiking? What are you hiking? Is it, unless it's fairly flat terrain, yeah, you are going to, it's basically another leg workout. Depending on the incline, it's going to be tougher and tougher. Just to give you an example, I've done Mount Washington twice as an adult over the past couple of years. Mount Washington is the highest peak in this part of the United States. It's pretty high. And I did it when I was a kid, and it was easy because I was, tiny. I was probably like 10 or 11, 12 years old maybe. I probably weighed like 70 or 80 pounds. I was tiny. And doing it again as a 225, 230 pounder, whatever I was, when I did it in the summer with my son and my daughter, and then I did it with my son and his friends the second time. Wow, it sucked. It was rough. It was brutal. It is an amazing cardio workout, sure, because it's hours and hours of cardio, basically. But it got very steep toward the end. It was literally, you had to actually start climbing, like grabbing onto things and pulling yourself over rocks. Very, very demanding. My legs were sore for at least 4 or 5 days after that. Any leg gains I would have made from a workout that had preceded that surely would not have occurred. The recovery would not have been allowed to happen. So I would say this would definitely take away from your recovery and gains from leg training the day before. If you're training legs on Saturday and doing this on Sunday, first of all, if your legs are sore from the workout, I don't even know how you can go hiking. That's crazy. But, let's look at it another way, though. I mean, if hiking is something that's really enjoyable for you, it's something maybe you share with friends or family as an activity, is it really worth it to forego that and not do it just because it might interfere with your leg gains, the progress of your leg growth? That really depends on how important bodybuilding is to you, what your goals are. Are you competing in a show soon and you need your legs to grow because they're behind? Are you somebody with that rare type of potential that could be a high-level national competitor, maybe a pro competitor, and get contracts and make some money at this. Most people don't fall into that category. Most people do bodybuilding for the personal challenge, the satisfaction of it. You know, it's a personal challenge to build the best physique that you can build, because most of us are never going to be on the level of these guys, these top pros, nowhere near. The sad thing is I've known guys over the years who definitely did not have that level of potential. They weren't very good. They never got higher than third, fourth, fifth at a local regional show, and usually that was when the classes were pretty small and weak and there was only 4 or 5 guys in a class. So they still barely beat anybody. Sometimes they never beat anybody. But these guys, they would never go out. They wouldn't go to the beach. They wouldn't go to like amusement parks. They wouldn't go to bars, clubs, because they were so dedicated, so focused to their getting every single meal they needed to every day on schedule, getting every workout in, every cardio session. Everything had to be perfect for their bodybuilding. And I get that. You know, I understand the obsession. I've certainly got a level of that myself. But I also eventually learned to have some balance, where I realized I'm never going to make any money at bodybuilding. I'm never going to be, you know, one of these top guys. These are the guys I work with. These are the guys I write about, I interview, and that's good enough for me. So why would I miss out on doing things with my family that, you know, I don't want to look back years later with regret, saying, why didn't I do more? Why didn't I spend more time with my kids? Why didn't I spend more time with my wife? Should have gone on that vacation, should have gone and done more fun things, but I was so worried about my stupid workouts and this and that. You know, eventually these muscles, if you live long enough, you're not going to look the way you look now anyway. And you don't want to look back. I don't want to look back and regret missing out on a lot of things in life because I was so intent on purely being a bodybuilder, and that ruled my life. So unless bodybuilding rules your life and you're cool with that, I would still go hiking. That's me. Last thing I want to talk about today, there's a trend with some of these Facebook groups. I don't want to say this one in particular. This one has almost 10,000 members. I used to post on it a lot more, but I got away from posting on it. Just, it's supportive, and that's good. That's fun. People post up pictures and they want to get support and they want compliments. They're fishing for compliments, most of the people that post on this particular Facebook group. And, you know, that's fine. They want some validation. They want people to say, you're doing a great job. You look great. Keep up the great work. Okay, now if you're competing and you're posting up progress pics and you're soliciting feedback, that's a different story. So a woman posted up pictures today, and it was a front and back shot. I think she's doing figure. It doesn't really matter what division she's in. She's 3.5 weeks out from a contest. She still has a good amount of fat on her butt, which, you know, personally, I don't have a problem with that. For competition, it's a problem. You know, I like big butts. I don't care. She still has a lot of fat to lose. So she posted these pictures and posed the question, will the glute ham tighten up enough? We will see in 3.5 weeks. That sounds like a question to me, right? It sounds like she was asking if it was going to. So a judge, a local woman in the New England area, who's an IFBB pro and a judge, she said, looks good from the front, need to lean out a lot more from the back. So the competitor answered back, no, really? That's what my post says. No, she didn't. You didn't say that you know you need to lean out. You asked, am I going to be ready? And this woman's saying, you got a ways to go, basically. So she said back again, really, that's what my post says. Okay, I'm aware of my weak areas. Thank you for confirming what I already said. Sorry, the judge said, sorry, but I have to be honest. Got to bring it down quite a bit. The girl said again, I'm already aware of that, as I said, LOL. A second judge, another woman, both, I'm glad it was women, because if it was a guy, you know, it'd be a whole other meaning to it, I suppose, to the women. Second judge posts, not in 3.5 weeks will it come down to stage ready. I would say at least 6 weeks. I'm an IFBB pro, prep coach, and NPC judge. So this woman knows what she's talking about. But, like I said, a lot of people that post on these particular types of Facebook groups or forums, whatever you want to call them, they're not good with criticism. They don't really want to hear critiques. They just want to hear how great they look. I'm not singling this woman out because I see this all the time. And I get it, I understand. But competition, when you get on stage to compete, judges don't care if you look good based on how you used to look. They're judging you against every other person that's standing up there with you. And if you have a bunch of fat on you and other people are out leaner than you, that's pretty critical. You're probably not going to do that well. So a couple people went back and forth with the competitor, basically telling her how great she looked. And then the girl ended with, right, I hate the quote, I'm a pro and a coach and a judge, and I know everything about your body and where it came from and where and how fast you lean out and what you're eating and what you're taking and how you're training, who's going to be at your show and what they'll look like and what those judges are looking for. It is going to be my best yet. And we all know it's not just a physique that wins the show. Yeah, it is. It actually is just a physique. Presentation counts. You need to know how to showcase the physique. And, in certain divisions like bikini, facial beauty also certainly is a contributing factor, plays a big role. But basically, it is the physique. It's a physique, no matter whether we're talking about bodybuilding, women's physique, figure, bikini, classic physique, whatever the division, it's the physique that's being judged based on the qualities of that particular division. So, yeah, it is about the physique. And if you're going to post pictures up and pose a question like, will I be ready? That's going to invite people with the trained eye to look at you and say, yeah, you're on, either, yeah, you're okay, you're on track, or no, you're not. I've told people many times, people send me pictures and I warn them ahead of time. I said, I'm going to be very blunt. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. If you want my honest appraisal, my honest opinion, I'm going to tell you. If you don't, let me know, and I'm not going to say anything. So I've told people that have sent me pictures, condition-wise where they're at, they weren't going to be ready in the time frame that they needed to be ready in. So I said, your best bet is to find another show, and sometimes I'll even suggest another show because if we're in the New England area or even all down to the tri-state, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, there's a lot of shows to choose from. So if you're supposed to be doing a show in 4 weeks, but you're way, way behind, pick another show. There's no shame in that. Unless you're in some situation where you're certainly locked into the show for whatever reason, but most people aren't. Most people can back out of a show. Unless you've already paid the entry fee, the hotel, or maybe you're flying there. I don't know. But for the most part, you can just back out of that show, and because you're not going to be ready. And you're better off, because why would you want to go up on stage at 70% of your best because you mistimed how much fat you had to lose, which is what most people do. Most people, they either don't realize how much body fat they're carrying, or they underestimate how long it's going to take them to get rid of the amount of fat that they have. I've certainly done that many times in the past, and I've gone on stage in a condition that was not where it should have been, and it was rough. I wish I hadn't done that, looking back, because I learned a lot and I got the stage time and everything, but did I look the way I should have looked? No. So to these people, I would say, please, it's fine if you want to post up pictures. I can't tell these people what to do. They can do whatever they want to do, but if you're going to post up pictures and ask questions and solicit feedback, be prepared to get feedback. And if it's coming from people that they're not being mean, they're not being haters, these people have experienced eyes and they know what they're looking at, and they've seen many, many physiques prepare for shows, and they know how you should be looking, roughly speaking, at a certain point of weeks out from a show. Obviously, people lose fat at different rates. People have different metabolisms, different bodies, whatever. But for the most part, if someone's got a show in 3 or 4 weeks and they have a certain amount of fat on them, it's safe to say they're not going to be ready in time. And you should probably think about it. Either just do that as a warm-up and get the experience and realize you're not going to be at your best, or pick another show that's 4 or 5 weeks down the line where you can be your best. But I don't post on that particular forum or that Facebook group very often, because a lot of people, they just want to be told how great they look, and that's fine. I'm busy. I have a lot going on with, the website, the magazine, different things. So I'm cool with that. Anyway, that's been this edition of Ask Ron. Please subscribe to the MD YouTube page. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate you guys watching these, and I'll talk to you next time.